Good evening, friends. Welcome to another episode of Let's Connect show on KONNECTiN. How are you doing? Today we're going to be discussing DJI's RavenEye. It's a wireless video transmission system that DJI recently introduced into the market, along with their two professional electronic stabilizer, otherwise called gimbals. One is DJI Ronin S2, another one is DJI Ronin SC2. I keep forgetting these terminologies, so I may, and if I mispronounce this, if I, please pardon me. So, today we wanted to talk about some of the good things about this particular device, and we also are going to look at some of our wish list that this device had. Hey, Donnie, how are you doing? Thanks for checking us out, Donnie. So, speaking of which, speaking of RavenEye, I have used multiple video transmission systems in the past, and this is not the new. And before we get to the details, what we want to do is actually towards the end, we also want you to share your experience, because this particular device is brand new in the market, and a lot of people are not used to using this. So the experiences vary from people to people. So your experiences may be completely unique to you. And again, the DJI RavenEye documentation. The documentation is there, but it is scant, so you may not get much help there if you're using different camera systems, and it does not really talk about how do you really connect from RavenEye to camera and things like that. So in my experience, what I've seen in the past is a lot of people having issues in connecting this RavenEye device with the camera of your choice. Sometimes there are problems with the Sony camera systems. In today's demonstration, we're going to be using Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. This works with the 6K as well. Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K and 4K. Both of them work the same way with the Ronin RavenEye. And if you are brand new to this show, please let us know where you're from, and please drop in a comment and let us know, what you're thinking about the information that we share through this channel. And if you think that the information that we share through the channel is beneficial to you, please consider subscribing to our channel and click the notification icon so that you will not miss any content that we create in the future. All right. So today, if you don't know who I am, my name is Vijal Bose. I am the host of this Let's Show. We do tech reviews like this, video reviews, mostly filmmaking, tech or gear reviews. And we also provide live streaming tips and strategies to help you create professional looking live content. With that out of our way, hi there, Da. Today, again, let's talk about this particular device. This is the RavenEye device. It's a cool looking device. There's not much stuff in here. It's got two antennas, and let's talk about this. The way how does this RavenEye transmit video to your to a remote device? And the only way that in its current form, this device can only transmit or stream a video signal from your camera to a mobile device. Unfortunately, this device can only stream to one device. I don't know why DJI limits that, because there are other wireless video transmission systems out there that can stream to multiple devices. One reason that I can think about why DJI limits that is probably because the wireless is established through a Wi-Fi network. So if you are sharing that Wi-Fi private network with multiple devices, basically you are actually sharing that bandwidth. And the more device that this device needs to support, then that can significantly deteriorate the quality of the feed going into that device. So that may be the reasons why DJI limits that streaming to only one device in its current form. So the issue with that is there are reasons why you would want to use this device, and I'll talk about that. And there are other reasons also why you want an additional monitor. So we'll talk about that too. Let me bring this demonstration mode. All right, so let me do the demo. So that's my camera system, actually already mounted on top of DJI RS2. So this actually it's completely in lock mode. So all axes are locked, so it doesn't move. And this RavenEye, the way you connect this already has a cold shoe mount. This cold shoe mount actually you just slide it in underneath the gimbal where the camera sits, and there's already a placeholder, and then you can slide it in, and you just have to and then you hear the click sound, then you know that okay, this is already secured in that place, and that's how you actually connect it to the gimbal. And few things that you have to pay attention to it. The Wi-Fi password is already given here. It's up here actually, and right next to that password, you may want to keep note of this password, because if you're connecting for the first time, you need that password to connect to that Wi-Fi network. And once it is there, then it just retains the password. Then you don't really need to type in the password again. And right next to that, there is it's not a switch that you can actually turn on. You click on for three seconds, then it turns on, and then once it turns on, this turns red for the first time, and it's waiting for the camera signal to be available for RavenEye. And once it detects the camera signal, this red becomes then it becomes blue. For the first time it turns blue, then blue means actually the Wi-Fi network is established. Then if the camera signal is available, then it becomes green. That means the signal is already available. Then you just have to connect to this Wi-Fi network, and then you'll be able to see the feed from the camera. So we will demonstrate that in today's live show. And onto this side, this is where you connect your camera. See, my camera already has an HDMI cable. It's a full HDMI to full HDMI cable. So I didn't bother to get another full HDMI to mini, because this only takes in mini HDMI input. So I got this full HDMI to mini HDMI adapter, and I use this to connect my HDMI. Right next to that HDMI port, there is another USB-C port. This is where people having confusion, because this USB-C port, people try to connect their camera into this USB-C port and thinking that it would work. And the documentation doesn't really say that it really works or doesn't work. And the experience actually is that it doesn't work. I'll show you that. And onto the other side of this device, it's another USB-C port. This is where you connect this device to the gimbal, so that it gets the two things. Either you can actually control the gimbal using the same cable. It also gets a power from the gimbal. So when you're not using the gimbal, make sure that you turn this device also off, otherwise it's going to drain the power too. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. So we will attach this device underneath our gimbal, and then we will hi Maya, and then we will continue with our demonstration. So let me switch to switch to the demo mode. All right, so now And one more thing is that that you have to keep in mind is this antenna should be pointing away from the gimbal. That's the way. Then it has to be spread like this, or maybe you can actually do like this. Making sure that it doesn't really obstruct your gimbal movements. Or it does not snap any cables underneath that. So if you keep it like that, that your phone can get that Wi-Fi signal and can communicate with this device. All right, so let's pop this in underneath. Okay, let me unlock this gimbal so that I can actually. There's another lock here. All right, so you see that this is the placeholder I'm talking about. So you just have to slide this in. There you go. And one thing that you have to keep in mind is that actually is do not balance the camera before you're placing this, because if you balance the camera and then you try to place it underneath that, it's going to throw the balance off. So make sure that you attach this device underneath your gimbal in the right manner and attach all the cables. Then you try to balance the camera on the gimbal, okay? And that is something that you have to keep in mind. All right, so it is already attached, it is secure, but I just want to make sure that, there you go. You hear that click sound. Now this is actually secure. Now let me turn this camera. See, this is a cable. This is a cable. I already have one cable attached. The RavenEye cable. How do you connect the cable? Which port on the gimbal that you're supposed to connect? And this is a power. This is also a cable you attach. Try to turn on this. It's a bit tight. There you go. So this cable, this USB-C cable, you should connect it to the bottom port of the RS2 or RSC2. I think I'm not too sure about RSC2 because I don't have that gimbal, so I can't really speak for that. This has got 3 USB-C ports right here, 1, 2, 3, and the RavenEye should be connected to the bottom port, and that's how you connect this device to the gimbal. All right, and now moving on to how do you get the camera feed to this RavenEye. This is HDMI cable. You connect this cable to that HDMI adapter that I placed underneath this gimbal. There you go. There you go. So that is connected here. And again, speaking of these different ports on the gimbal, I said there are 3 of them, right? So let me explain this. The last one is dedicated for RavenEye. The middle one is for the focus motor. If you got this Pro combo package, you also get the focus motor, and the focus motor is also connecting via USB-C ports. See, look at that. This is actually the USB-C. This cable is connecting to the middle port of this gimbal. That's how you can connect. You can actually use this. This is front the dial on RS2. You can actually use that to rack the focus. You can actually control the focus. And by the way, this lens is not automatic lens. Actually, this is a fully manual cinema lens, cinema glass. It's a Meike 16mm t2.2 is what I have it here. And the top one, and there are 3 ports, right, on the gimbal. The top one, the topmost one, is what you should be connecting to the camera. And here for Blackmagic design recently, not recently, I think, you know, somehow, I don't remember the exact version. Actually, they added this facility to control the camera, the behavior of the camera through USB-C port. So since they introduced that feature, I stopped using this SSD. So if you're using SSD as your as a media for the recording media, then you will not be able to use that USB-C port. So I stopped using SSD, and I am using CFast 2.0 card, and it's already here, and that's how I control, so that, you know, I'm able to use this USB-C port to control the camera. So that USB-C cable is connecting to the top port of the gimbal. That's how this gimbal can control the behavior of this camera. All right. And one of the good things that I like about this gimbal is that I'm able to start and stop my camera using this record button on the gimbal. That is something that I've been longing for so long. You know, because the other gimbals that I've used in the past, they didn't work with this Blackmagic pockets in my camera. So every time that I need to start recording, I have to touch the camera, because that can, you know, that was very inconvenient. So so now let's actually do some demonstration purpose. So now let me turn on the camera, so that my battery is already mounted. All right. Okay, now this is mounted. So now let me turn on the RavenEye too. So before I turn on the gimbal, I just wanted to show you, because if I turn on the gimbal, it's gonna point to one direction, so that I won't be able to turn this gimbal. So let me turn on the RavenEye too. So by you know, by pressing this hard press for 3 seconds, see that? Look at that. Now it is red. Now it's red. It turned that feed to actually blue. So look at that. It's blue now. It's actually blue. So blue means this RavenEye Wi-Fi network is available to us to connect to. So now let's go to settings. Hey, thank you, Raghu. Thank you, thank you. Hope you're enjoying this show, Raghu. So go to settings. Now go to the Wi-Fi, and you will be able to see that the RavenEye's Wi-Fi SSID listed under networks. It takes a while, but it's going to show up ultimately. Just wait for some time. Yeah, it's still working. It's still working. That network is just, all right. There you go. So that's the RavenEye's the network. So just click on it and you connect it, and now you can actually now you go to the Ronin app. So before you connect with the RavenEye, you make sure that you download a DJI Ronin app. The Ronin app is like this. There's a DJI. The second one is called this Ronin app. That is one that you should be downloading from respective app stores. So I already have it here. So I just click on it, and this is the first interface. So now actually I wanted to talk about this area first, and then you go to the RavenEye. RavenEye, connect with your gimbal. Okay, there you go. So now the moment you connect to the DJI RS2, because now actually the two things that you have to keep in mind. If you are not using RavenEye, you can still use DJI app to connect to the gimbal, but you just don't have this RavenEye. So if you don't have RavenEye, you don't really need to use Wi-Fi. The way this app connects with DJI RS2 or RSC2 is via Bluetooth. So if you're using this RavenEye, then it uses only Wi-Fi. So you should disable Bluetooth if you're using RavenEye in conjunction with this Ronin app. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. And here, this is what I do. Because I'm using RavenEye, so I go into actually my settings, and I go into the Ronin app. There is a Ronin app. Where is it? I have to scroll all the way down to, there we go, DJI Ronin. Oh, I think it's under RS. There we go, Ronin app, and I turned off this Bluetooth because I'm already using RavenEye with it. So so that's one thing that you have to keep in mind. So now, there you go. Now, a few things that you can do without RavenEye. So I just wanted to quickly go over that also, the features that you can do. And see, one thing that you can do is you can actually balance the test. I don't want to do that now because I have to really tilt this gimbal to do that, because I didn't turn on the gimbal yet. And motor parameters. You can actually change all these motor parameters here, and you can also check the status of this. This is one thing that you have to really set this up in the beginning itself. A few things here. If you really want to disable the gimbal in portrait mode, let me do this if I can make. There you go, I'm already there. Okay. I don't know whether, because that circular pip didn't work earlier, so I just wanted to test it out. Now it really worked now. All right. Okay. So I can actually, at least you can see me talking to you. See this, this RS2 and RSC2 also has got a portrait mode. It's a fantastic way to create content for Instagram or TikTok in a media. And if you're not creating content for that, and if you don't want portrait mode, you can always disable it globally. So that means even if you change the mode, that portrait mode will not be available to you. So you can do that from here. And same with the gimbal 3D roll. 3D roll is, it's otherwise called as inception and a barrel shot, right? The gimbal rotates 360 degree. So if you're not used to doing that type of shots, then you can also disable that here. And silent mode, I always do that. Well, silent mode is available because my gimbal is not turned on. That's why the silent mode is not it's not showing up here. I turned on the silent mode because I don't want any notifications to be available, to be heard, And you can also disable the selfie mode if you don't want. I disable the selfie mode because I am not a fan of taking selfies using gimbals. And the demo mode, you should never turn on the demo mode. If you turn on the demo mode, then I don't know what behavior this is going to do, and turn off. It's just not going to be helpful to you anyway. System calibration. System calibration is important. Sometimes a gimbal can drift from the horizon. Some people experience that drift, and if it drifts, actually you can actually calibrate that here. You can actually use system calibration to calibrate all the motors, and you can also use horizontal calibration to calibrate that horizon. When you do that, people have experienced that it works. Some people had bad experience also because it didn't really fix their horizon issue. So I don't know what really what the real issue is there, but I tried it. It really worked for me. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. There you go. And you can also restore gimbal setup. Now go back here. Let me turn on the gimbal so that it actually unlocks some more features. All right, now it turned on. Camera control cable is connected. Okay, there you go. Now again, you go back to the status. Some of the things are already enabled for me because I already set it up. And now there are 3 user profiles: M1, M2, M3, and these profiles you can actually customize it. Customize these settings, and you can actually activate that using just one button from the gimbal. Okay, so that is there. Now going to the there you go. That's it. So now going to the RavenEye. So now we are actually onto the RavenEye. So let me actually turn this into this different so that you can see this better. All right, so let me turn back my camera to me. All right, so now this is the RavenEye video feed from the camera. So the moment you choose RavenEye from the main section, from here, you connect it here, you connect already, you click on it, you get this, it's just simple. And in my testing, the last 2 weeks of testing, I found that this app to be very, very responsive. Well, there is actually a lag. And so, for example, if I move here and there, there is a bit of lag, but that lag is, I think, it's acceptable lag. I can really work with that, at least, to see what's happening. The primary reasons why we need this is basically to adjust certain parameters of your camera, right? For example, number one is basically I should be able to control the ISO settings, what is that? The color temperature and a few other parameters. But unfortunately, DJI, when they rolled out this app, actually, there's only a few things that we can control. Here, I can only control the ISO of my camera. So if I can I can actually bring it down to 800. So basically, it actually darkens the image. So I'm actually increasing it to 3200. I don't really shoot. I never filmed anything at that ISO. I think I only did it once, not above 3200 ISO. But anyway, so again, since I'm using cinema glass, I'm not getting any iris information from the camera, so that's okay. I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested. But I think there's one critical feature that I wish DJI added that as part of this app is focus pulling. See, my motor is already connected to attached to my my lens, cinema lens. It's a cinema lens. So so if I change, let me see if I can bring the focus to this. Okay, there you go. It's actually more clear, right? More clear. Yeah, there you go. It's more clear. Let me see if I can actually turn the gimbal so that there you go. So that's actually it's more clear now. See, it's a critical feature, right? For example, if I have an assistant, see, one of the things that you do is actually as an operator or as a cinematographer, you really want to focus on composing the shot, right? And making sure that that shot is actually super smooth and stable. And the last thing that you need to worry about is okay, whether that it's actually your subject is in focus or not. So I usually have an assistant. Sometimes I'm all by myself. And when I have an assistant, and I should have the luxury of handing over this little this iPhone or maybe or any other mobile device to my assistant. Hey, can you actually pull the focus for me so that I can focus on, because I need a firm grip. And DJI RS2 has a fantastic dial in the front, and I love this because the wheel type thing actually is also good because now this one actually it's right next to my finger to actually to crank up that focus. So it's so easy for me to do that, and it's so easy for many people to do that also as well, because when you use a wheel, the problem with that wheel is basically you have to really use a thumb to actually to do that. But speaking of that wheel, this the default one that's available with RS2, you cannot really rack focus. You can actually you can pull it, but there is no A and B points that you can actually do that. With the Ronin wheel is another device. I think it's $49 that you can actually buy and attach to one of the NATO ports. With that, you can set A and B points and actually rack focus from A to B point. So that is something that's already available, that really works. But this is actually super convenient. The default one is super convenient also. So basically, you can actually customize it to either work it with your focus or with a zoom. If it's a zoom lens and if that motor is connected to your zoom gear, then you can actually change this from focus to zoom and control the zoom behavior of the lens. So unfortunately, this app does not have a facility to actually control the focus. And I worked with the Zion video transmission, wireless video transmission system. Actually, their app, ZY Play app, even though I don't really like that app because it has got its own issues. It worked majority of the time, but sometimes it's glitchy, so you have to restart that app. That is the only problem with that app. Actually, otherwise, there's no problem. But that app already has a facility to actually, to pull the focus. You can actually to control the focus behavior of the lens. And I wish DJI added that facility through this RavenEye app. I don't know why they omitted that. That is one of the critical features that I wish they added that before they rolled out this device into the market. All right, and a few other things. Now going to the RavenEye settings, actually you can always change some of the appearance of this layout. Guide frame is there you can actually have one of this. So I set it to none for now. Aspect marker 16:9, you can change that to any one of this. If you're using any anamorphic aspect ratio, you can actually change that aspect marker. Safety zone marker, you can actually change it. I set it to maybe 90%. And focus peaking, and that's one of the important things that I always set it to 100. So I want a good focus peaking. And center marker, I don't have anything there, so you can have a center point if you want it. You can actually have it, but I don't have it because my camera already has it, so I don't want that. On this one, marker color, you can change it to white, black, green, so you have more color options out there. And marker width, if you really want the thickness of the width, you can adjust that. And show plus cache not set, you can actually set the cache so that through this RavenEye, through this RavenEye app, actually you can actually record using this option out here. This red option is to start recording. And if yes, a couple of ways. Sometimes if you don't, you can also record it to your camera, and that'll be a good see. But I turned off the notification. I don't know why this notification is coming again. Anyway, you can also play back some of these actually the things that I recorded it the other day. So let me play this one that actually I recorded it. It's a 360-degree option that I recorded. There you go. And there is another one. I was testing it actually the other day. So a few things that I of course already stored on my phone. Let me see what I can pull this. Okay, this is the one that I recorded. Using the same camera and a cinema camera. Hey, Cutting Edge TV, thanks for checking us out. So that is about it. So now a few things. So what makes this RavenEye so exciting is you can do oh sorry, I think I clicked the wrong option. Where is that guy? Now this is this option is something that you can actually turn on. You can turn on the zebra if you want. Actually, what I am interested is actually speaking, focus peaking, so that if I am actually is it actually visible? I think it is. Let me see if I can turn on this. Yeah, there is a. Can you see that? Can you see that? There's a red line. There's a red border line that You have to have a very good eye to actually even figure that out. I wish they added a little more, explicit, way to identify that, it is actually, but anyway, this uh, my camera's monitor is super, so that I always look at that one for my focus. I don't really use this one. I use this one actually for, for changing parameters, and actually what is really good is this guy. Let me see if I can actually, where is that guy? This one. This guy. So how do I get there? Okay, this guy. There you go. You click on this option. This makes this device very, very super powerful. You can take control of the gimbal using just a phone, and you enable this this guy, and now just watch. So look at that. I'm not touching the gimbal. So basically, it is actually, I can use my phone to actually turn the gimbal, and I can already see that the application of this on the field. The cinematographer or the operator can focus on composing the shot, while an assistant can actually mount this camera or maybe on top of a slider, or on a tripod, and slowly turn, whenever, if you really want the gimbal to turn or pan, or you can make some parallax movement and things like that. This is super cool actually to have this kind of facility. And I played with other video transmission systems also, and then they also have something similar. But DJI, hats off to you for enabling that feature. So now if I turn on, and I can control the smoothness. There's a virtual joystick here, so I can control the speed, the smoothness, and the speed of this. I basically enable joystick. So basically, then I can actually use this phone as a joystick, similar to the joysticks that's already available on the gimbal. And you can adjust the speed here. So now Force Mobile is again something that I always like to use it. And smoothness, you can change it. You can actually also control the speed with which you are actually, this when you can actually control the speed of the pan, tilt, and roll, and control the behavior of your gimbal's movement. And all right, so that's about that. And this middle guy is to recenter your gimbal. If, for example, I turn this gimbal to this area, and now I click on the center guy, it recenters. So that is so super cool. And I can turn off, how do I turn off this guy? This guy. There you go. Oh, now, no, I don't want actives. Okay. And second thing is, I didn't really show this to you. Okay. And second important feature that I've noticed is Active Track. Active Track is a cool feature that DJI enabled with this device, and through actually through with and also through Ronin app. So all I have to do is actually have to using your finger, you can actually you can draw a rectangle around that your subject, and you can actually turn. If I move, automatically it tries to move along with me, along with my action. You see what I'm saying? If I move around, it is trying. It is actually trying to follow me. And again, with limited space in the studio, this may not be a good demonstration, but I really like to use this on the field, and if it's a large field, and that is the best way to try to test this Active Track. Active Track really works, but keep in mind that Active Track, in my experience, it works, but it can also be, can also ruin your shot if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. Again, like I said, DJI Active Track has been there with their drone technology. They just introduced this same facility within in the gimbal world. Again, this is relatively a new technology, so they are doing everything to perfect it. And so, but it has its own application on the field, for sure. And if you're using a wide angle lens, and DJI recommends that the active track speed is set to maybe 20 or so, that's the default. And if you're using telephoto, then you may want to bring that speed to maybe lower that further down to maybe in 10 or maybe 8, and depending upon your taste, and so that there will be less vibration and less hunting. Otherwise, what happens actually is if I move back and forth, this camera is going to move back and forth, and that will be a distraction to the eyes. So you don't want to do that. So you have to be really mindful when you actually activate this active track feature. And I can already see some applications. For example, if a talent is actually, it's actually it's already sitting, and in one instance actually the talent is getting up and delivering a dialogue, and you really want to track that action. Usually you need a very precise control and to do the tilt action. With this active track and with optimal speed, you can easily pull that off. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. And that is it. So that is about this this RavenEye. But few things. I think I mentioned earlier that DJI limits this RavenEye's stream to only one device. That may not be always good for professional filmmaking, because in my case, I'm okay with it, because I really wanted to keep my my equipment, my gimbal, very light. That's why I am using the Cinema 16mm Meike lens and Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera with a full cage, and also I have an NPF battery, and I also have another I think it's RAV power USB brick that can also power my this phone, and as well as I can also use this to charge my gimbal. The gimbal has got a power brick. It's a handle, so I don't have a duplicate. I don't have a second handle. So on the field, the only way that I can give more juice to this handle is to have another power, another USB brick, giving that power to this guy. And you can actually to charge this while you are operating the gimbal. So that's how I have it configured. And one thing that sometimes, and if you're doing a professional filmmaking, and if you have a director, or if you're a director of cinematography, and if you're just the operator, and if there's a director of cinematography wants a feed from this camera, and how do you give it? And in its current state, you can't do that, because RavenEye can only stream to one device. And how does it make it? So that my goal for next video is to figure out a very less invasive way to stream, or at least to give this my video feed from the camera to both RavenEye as well as on the third-party monitor. So I have not tested it, so I'm going to come back with a video if I'm successful with it. So I already have some idea as to how to do it, but I just have to test it out before I can actually talk about it. And that is about it. And again, it is very important that you also share your experience via comments, because a lot of people that I've seen that they are having issues in making their camera system work with the RavenEye, especially Sony camera system. The reason why that is, people, like I said earlier, right, there is another RSS port next to that HDMI port that people trying to connect USB-C cable from Sony camera into that port. That is one, that's not correct. And for Sony cameras, I think there is another cable within the box. It's called multi. The one end is actually a multi cable. I think it's a multi. It's called multi. And one end is a USB-C, and that USB-C end should go the top most port of the gimbal, not on the RavenEye. So that is something that you have to, again, couple of settings that you have to do on your Sony cameras to make it work. But again, I have not really tested it. So when I test the Sony camera, I will be able to really tell you exactly what parameters that you have to really set it at the camera level in order to make that work. That's all I have for today, unless if you're if you have any questions, throw your questions, actually, because it's very important that, because again it's a new device out there, so your experience is going to be different from my experience. So I'm interested in actually learning from you as well. And if you don't have any questions, I look forward to actually coming again on with another video. Thank you, Donnie. Thanks for staying there, and I look forward to seeing you in the next week, Donnie, for the shoot. All right, see you this weekend. Yes, absolutely, man. Thank you, Donnie. Thank you. So, all right. Bye.